Anyway, hi. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you for joining us on DMD RPG for your Wednesday game. Old God of Appalachia, Candlepoke and Bell. Look at these wonderful smiling faces here. Super ready to play since we missed last week. Had a whole week to not worry about it. Right? Right. I'm joined tonight by Ashley, the everything playing Glenn, Mitch playing Reviv, Chef playing Kleber, and Lou playing Ruth. This is one of 3 games for this little season. On Sundays, you can see DM Daddy's triumphant return with Everyday Heroes, Resident Evil Survivors, where things are going super well. And Mitch isn't going to get us all killed. And premiering this Friday, also on Twitch, is What Chef?
Eloise, you've heard it, you've heard the myth, you've heard the legend. Now come watch the crazy.
Which is a
It's
Vampire the
gonna be a
Masquerade
blast.
game.
Ah, yeah, there is that too. This is what happens when you put me on the spot for an intro when I've been writing lesson plans.
You're going to have to figure it out. I'm helping. I'm helping you,
Is
Chef.
that is that what we're
This is helping. This is what helping looks like.
Note to self, don't look, find out what hurting looks like.
If this is your first time joining us and you are super behind, you're not actually that behind. You can jump right in if you really want to, or you can hop on YouTube to check out our previous material. We have so much. We have so much going. 200 plus games available for your viewing pleasure. And a variety of systems, a variety of themes, and a variety of casts.
Have we hit the 1 month of playtime mark? Because I
Hey.
think we have. Well, you know, 200 or what, 200 games, three
Mm-hmm.
hours each, 600 hours.
Yeah.
That's almost literally an entire month of back-to-back playing.
So stop what you're doing, slam a bunch of caffeine, you got a month. Start back to back, guys. You have homework. If somehow
And
a
then you,
month straight of our channel isn't enough, you can also join us on Discord where we talk about games, talk about life, talk about all kinds of things. It's a nice little community full of friends and family and fun. And also voting. We've got some votes coming up for the next round of games. DM Daddy's got a werewolf versus werewolf that is really going to be a nail biter. Glenn Dizzle,
well,
I believe, will
Clawbiter.
be returning for his next game. He's got a couple of good options, and I also have a vote coming
Queen.
between Highlander
Between
Season 2
what
and
and what?
Ghostbusters. So if you want to, I don't know, weigh in.
If we want more piss bottle or do we want goo?
Goo Bottle, let's go.
Wait, Ghostbusters 1 or 2 or 3?
Just a Ghostbusters universe.
Isn't there a fourth?
They're,
There's a fourth, but Spengler's not in it because he's dead. So we don't count that fully.
I mean, he's kind of not really in 3 either.
He's there in spirit.
He's always there in spirit.
What about the
I'm sad.
cartoon?
Not the cartoon. I'm
Which
not a
one?
cartoon kind of girl. I'm sorry. I am a soulless monster. Anyway,
We
you can
knew
vote and
that,
you can
but
also
damn.
join in on our games on Discord. That's where we do our signups and that's where we recruit people and that's where you want to be. If you want to do what these guys are doing, be brave. Be
Which is
so
being
brave.
pelted by bricks by our friends because our cheese decided to throw a Patreon brick at everyone.
Yep, isn't that fun? And finally, we have a Patreon. If you have extra money, you can give it to us. We give you things in return, and if not, that's cool. Hey guys, what happened last time we played? I know it's been 2 weeks, but let's start with Chef.
You don't call her Katie.
You don't.
You do not call her. Fine, I don't get to call her Katie. But we all found ourselves at Miss Kate Bat's house for dinner, where she absolutely was not planning on recruiting us all for a job. And we definitely did not all leave together the next morning.
Cool. Luke, what happened?
And we are definitely not all bad at small talk at the table while waiting for dinner. We're just great at that. Um, so we traveled to a wonderful, very tiny town called Mitchellville, where we met with the tavern owner, Rip Minson, and apparently a couple people when they would be leaving or coming to the town after dark, near dawn, sometime between that time, they'd be either found dead or would die shortly thereafter, screaming about a woman in white.
Ooh, classic. Hey, Ashley, what else happened?
We met with the pastor. Or, yeah, his name was Pastor Paul? I don't remember his name. I just remember he was the church man, the Reverend, as we
Jones?
all
I think it
kept
was
calling him.
Hallelujah Jones.
Yep.
I was so bad
Yeah,
with those names
that's
last
right.
week.
Um, he told us, but didn't really tell us that if we wanted to, if we found the bones that belonged to the guy that was haunting the woods and brought him back to the church in, say, a potato sack, he could maybe possibly bury them on hollowed ground, considering the guy killed himself, so it wasn't really allowed.
Well, like, you find some bones. Who knows whose they are? Hey, Mitch, bring us home.
Exactly.
What else happened?
Sorry, I was muted. We went to retrieve the bones in Meeville, and this weird, like, horrifying specter rose from him. That was like a black flaming skull, and it started terrorizing our party. Raviv ran for it and made it back to the church, and everyone did collect the bones, fair and bright, and we made it back.
Awesome.
Can I add on something to Reviv's real quick?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the fact that Kleber was just trying to dad the fucking skull while it was distracted with the potent root beer?
It worked. You
It
can't
did
prove
not.
to me it didn't work. I'm the only one who stopped that thing in his tracks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe
Plus,
that, buddy.
well, I was actually trying to talk my way through it, which, for me is a pretty rare
You
sight.
know what
So,
you can't talk your way out of, though, Chef, is you hit yourself with that redeem, by the way. Just
probably.
so you know. Thank you for, was it 12 whole months of subscribing?
Oh, it is my anniversary. Hot
Do you
damn.
love us?
Cool.
You love us, right?
I,
You love
if
us.
I didn't love you, I wouldn't have been there last Saturday.
That's fair. That's fair. It was nice.
I wasn't
It really
I
was.
wasn't there last Saturday, but I also had work commitments and it's a 17.5 hour drive.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Excuses.
So,
We should
thanks
have a
to all of
laptop on like Discord so we could digitally be there.
Actually, we probably should have done that.
thought about it, but I don't know that a whole lot of people in attendance would have known how to, like, record. It's fine. It's fine. What's not fine is all these Patreon redeems. I just need you guys to know that you are already in trouble, and I want you to thank our Patreon members really quick. Say thank you for hurting me.
Thanks for causing the apocalypse with all these bricks.
Partner, mommy.
I hope your cornbread is not cooked all the way through.
I'm not thanking you. I gave you that link to that Batcat mask. You know who you are.
So, it's been almost 3 weeks since you guys got back from Mitchellville. Things have gone like they normally do, nothing strange really has popped out from the grounds around you. What would you be doing on just like an average Wednesday?
Apparently getting a fourth brick on me. Fuck.
Chilling in my cart,
Insult the cornbread, that's what happens.
Or-
smoking off the hookah, maybe. Doing any chores that Ruth needs.
Okay.
You better have gotten your chores done before you're smoking on that hookah.
I'll look it done.
I would probably be just working in the forge if people needed, God, there's horseshoes or nails to be done or things to be mended. Or if Reviv has gone off to the caravan and everything, probably finishing up any chores.
For the record, all of you are completely healed. Your pools for my intellect and speed are all full
Okay.
for now.
All right. Currently.
Glenn, what are you doing? Average everyday Wednesday.
I am at my little hut just outside of town, just making sure my wards are up around the house.
What are you warded
You know,
against?
just kind of, anything. I can't really say anything stronger. Mostly just minor critters and whatnot, minor haints and everything.
Okay.
Because I won't say I can make wards strong enough to keep major things out. But,
Okay.
you know,
Kleber, what would you be doing?
If I had found someone who actually was willing to pay me, I'd probably be going out exploring, helping people find places for logging camps, or like helping them explore caves that may or may not have mine potential in them. If not, I'm just out wandering doing stuff.
Okay. Glenn, just a little lint of my Sharpie flew off. Glenn, Raviv, Ruth, as you all kind of wander about your afternoon, you each realize at some point that something has been dropped off at the door of your home or the door of your cart, your caravan. Just a single folded over slip of paper says, "Stop by when you read this. Kate." Kleber, you are wandering your way back from a little trek out into the forest. You heard word of a cave that might have gone real deep, but you're a little disappointed. You found some bats, you found some possums, nothing terribly excited. And as you reach into your bag to grab your water out, you touch a piece of paper folded over in half.
I didn't pack a map. What on earth?
In handwriting that is familiar to you by now, you see, "Stop by when you read this. Dash Kate."
I can't tell if I'm gonna be super late or that woman's just trying to fuck with me. Probably both. I just hope I didn't miss dinner. Very well.
The rest of you, what do you do?
oh, I see the note just there. I just like, oh, okay. And then I just go off to Kate's. Don't even have to pick it up. She's the only one who will leave a note at the store.
Instead of putting up my sign for evening fortune telling, I'll just go to Kate's after reading the note.
Same here.
Okay, cool. As you approach, you don't smell dinner cooking out of the. Oh, Ashley is freaking out. How is she like time traveling right now? I swear to God, I saw like 6 different outfits.
What happened?
It's the Haints. It's the Haints.
I am so
It's the
afraid.
Cheeval curse. Go cricket.
One too many bricks. It'll do wonders to you. Let you see all kinds of pretty lights.
Right? Oh my God. Settle down,
That was
Loki.
glorious.
Christ.
Leave
don't
my
sm-
son out of this.
You don't smell dinner cooking, but you do smell the sweet cinnamony apple smell of perhaps a pie, maybe a cobbler, some kind of baked dessert. She's got the door propped open, obviously expecting you. And as the 3 who were in town before look up as you head toward Kate's house, just on the edge of town, Kleber wanders out of the woods.
I'm guessing y'all got one too?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Sorry, my finger was itching.
How in the hell that woman put a note in my bag when I was in the middle of a cave I have never been in, I will never know. And I am damn sure she will not tell me.
Not on your
Don't
life,
have to worry about
Kleber.
that.
You hear out from
Told you! Told you!
from between the curtains in the open window.
How did my grandmama say it? A woman has to have her secrets.
Sounds about right.
I just am glad I wasn't late.
No, y'all exactly where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Sounds like a railroad owner I knew one time.
Y'all coming in.
Well, of course, Lady Kate.
Oh, lady.
So, I assume this is a business call?
Just a bit. I was wondering if y'all had heard anything out there. Anything weird? Concerning?
Them
Oh, a
bats were
few rumors
bigger
here
than
and
hell.
there.
Rumors.
People going in the mountains, turning into monsters. You know, weird things tend to happen around here.
Oh, they sure do.
In these mountains?
Oh
Always been
yeah, all
peach to me.
kinds of things.
Must be up there over that what you call it, Yankee Way, up the northern part.
Oh, Kleber, the ghost of Christmas wasn't enough to change your mind.
Goes to Christmas.
That was
Oh,
that
that was
was his
right.
name,
That
you
was
know.
the name. I'm sorry. The name I remember most from that particular encounter was Abigail, because that's the one I kept yelling to try to keep that thing from eating my face.
Truly tragic, wasn't it? Young love. Y'all ever been in love?
Perhaps.
Even you, Ruth. You don't always marry for love.
Every single
I
day.
love the one I'm married.
That's good to hear.
Well, I haven't met anyone yet.
Give me your hand, Raviv.
Well, okay, here.
Fingers wrap around your hand. She kind of closes her eyes for a moment, shoulders settling in. Well, you'll find something to love. And she gives your hand a pat and lets it right go. Y'all want some pie?
I'd love some, thank you.
She turns
Are we
around.
doing
Starts.
are we doing fortune telling now?
Do you want me to tell you a fortune?
I'm afraid of what you would tell me, and then I'm afraid it would be true, whether or not it was my fortune.
I'm gonna take that as a no. Starts handing out
It's a
plates of pie. Pots
it's a
chairs at a kitchen
definitive
table.
maybe.
Sits herself down.
Waits till the ladies are seated, then sits.
Are you afraid that Kate will say you'll fall in love with the woman from the city?
I fell in love with Appalachia the first time I ever heard a tree talk to me.
No, I think he's afraid of building a city. Becoming the thing he hates the most. Progress.
Why on earth would I try to build my own prison around me and try to fill it with so many things that look pretty but are nothing more than shackles when I could be out in the world, seeing what's there, seeing what's over the next hill, the next mountain, the next range.
Some things are not yours,
Really,
Kleber.
some things aren't.
She seems a
But
little sad for a moment.
Some things aren't my choice. But so long as I can do a choice and have a choice, I choose to keep going on that way.
I'll choose as often and as much as you can, Cleaver. Don't worry. I called y'all here because I had a dream.
About us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, not directly.
Hmm.
Not this time.
Have to get that story later.
What was the dream about?
Thank you. I'm not going to be so rude as to just indulge you with my dreams. I dreamt that I woke up in the middle of the night in my own home. Everything quiet in a way it oughtn't be. But
Oh,
it seemed just as it was. And I got up out of my bed, the floor cold underneath my feet, and moved to the kitchen, opening up each and every one of these cabinets and cupboards, every counter, everywhere I looked was absolutely bare. Not a scrap of food in sight. I opened up the front door and it was dark outside, but I could see a blizzard. But it wasn't a blizzard, it was ashes. And then I woke up in my bed with a mighty concern that there is something jeopardizing this town, maybe the food supply. Maybe. Y'all ain't heard nothing about that?
Well, I haven't heard anything about ashen storms or dreams of famine, but I did bring my crystal ball. We could do a reading.
that sounds a lot more like fire. Forest fire. To be raining ash like that, which would probably destroy most of the fields around here. Jen, what time of year is it?
It is early spring.
Ah, that wouldn't explain why the stores would be empty now before the winter week comes in.
Hmm.
Well, something's supposed to happen that's going to take out the crops before we can harvest them for the spring.
Well, I'm afraid something's going
I
to
know.
happen. Yes, Ruth?
No, I was just going to comment that I know a couple of farmers that would smack you in the mouth for dare to say that, uh, Kleber.
Yet another reason that most people don't really watch me, and I don't do much watching to them.
Well, if the four of y'all don't mind, I'd really like it a whole lot if you would keep an eye out and maybe ask around, see if you can figure anything out. Maybe we called it early enough that it won't be a worry.
May I ask a question regarding your dream?
You may ask anything you want, Kleber.
When you opened your front door and you saw the ashes, were they coming from any particular direction?
Sideways.
Like maybe from the east, from the west, north?
From the east.
Seems to me that may be where we need to look first.
It feels a lot closer than that.
You mean like in town closer? Or like in the next 2 days closer?
I don't know what I mean. Sometimes I just say things, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Because everything you say almost always has something behind it.
That reminds me, Ruth, I've got something for you.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
She gets up, putters around to that big old cabinet that she keeps locked at all times. Keys jangling as she opens it up, pulls open one of the doors, and leans way, way down to the very bottom of it, pulling out a folded quilt. She turns, holding it out, presenting it like it's supposed to be some kind of a gift.
I
Yes, it's for your
I
kiddo.
appreciate it. I'll make sure he takes wonderful care of it.
I don't care if he takes care of it, just that he uses it.
He will absolutely use it. Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
And if she
She will
unfolds it,
gratefully
as
take
she
it.
is probably going to do at some point, it's just made of a variety of blue, red, and orange scraps of fabric. It's clearly hand stitched together. She is not an expert quilt maker. It's a little sloppy. But it seems like it'll hold up, at least for a few washes. It's got like this pattern of stars, sort of like a North Star, where there are 4 points that are longer and then 4 crisscrossing those a little bit shorter. It's warm, but light, and for some reason smells a little bit like cloves.
I'll make sure that he comes by and thanks you for it.
Mm. I would say you don't have to do that, but that's a good way to raise a gentleman.
And I intend to raise a gentleman.
And I intend to make sure that you do.
Would you
Was
like me to
that
spend more
cabinet
time
empty
with
too?
you?
One at a time, y'all.
I was just asking if you'd like him to spend some time with you.
No, he didn't have to do that. No, point in getting too attached. What was that, Cleaver?
I was just looking at, you said all of your cabinets and cupboards, including that one that you keep locked. It's got whatever you have in it.
I don't think I went in that one.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Is there an echo on me?
No.
Okay, I keep hearing an echo somewhere.
I do not. That's all that matters. She claps her hands together and turns, looking again at the Cabinet of Wonders. And Reviv and Glenn, because you know magic, at least a little bit, you know that is a lot of things she has somehow managed to keep together, and her house has not collapsed into rubble yet. That alone is a little impressive. She reaches in, and you hear like a jangling before you see what's in her hand. And when she turns, she holds it out. It's a tiny wind chime made of a variety of pieces of broken, maybe salvaged glass, all different colors. And she holds it out for someone to take.
What is it?
Well, it's a wind chime.
I'll hold a hand out for her to place it in.
She puts it in your hand. Each tiny piece of glass has been sanded down so it's not sharp anymore. But it seems to catch light from almost anywhere, just sparkling as you turn it over and examine it.
Into the short pocket.
She closes the cabinet, locks it back up. How'd y'all find your trip to Mitchellville, by the way?
terrifying. You know, I hate ghosts. Why would you send us there?
She like reaches out to Rob their back, just gently.
I thought the boy over there was gonna fucking piss himself right away from the goddamn skull.
You learned a lot, didn't you?
Well, I learned when to run, but I guess I kind of already knew when to run.
That does come natural to
Yeah.
most.
If you have to guess, son, you didn't fully understand when, how.
Oh,
Well-
better than you at least. He at least ran while you stood around trying to talk to the fucking skull.
Both Rip and the Mitchells are very grateful and said if y'all ever need anything, just to let them know.
Very kind of him. And for the record, if you were lost, afraid, sick, homesick, longing for the sweet embrace of one person on this earth, so much that it had twisted your very being into something you would not recognize, wouldn't you want someone to stop running and try to help you?
That's why I don't get
I
attached to
found
people, Boyle.
that's
You move
not
on
being
And yet,
easily with
attached.
you're
That's,
sitting at a table eating apple pie with people.
that's just goddamn common decency.
Well, I
How
can't
how will
control what
you?
I fear.
Everybody,
I'm
roll
not
me perception. Anyone who has like a specialization in either perception or like listening can use that. Otherwise, I did add an other skill button that is just untrained that you can click.
Any idea what the difficulty is?
No. Just
Okay.
roll. Just roll.
for somebody from the Emerald Isle, I would truly believe that you had more sense of clan and kin, the need to help those in need simply for the fact that they are in need.
I help people because they need help, not out of any sense of duty or familiarity.
And you think that boy and that girl didn't need your help?
Ruth, you notice nothing because you are actually suddenly very distracted by the blanket you hold in your hands. For a moment, you think it's getting warmer. The smell of cloves just overtakes you, and you are shrouded in just a cloud of comfort, of bliss. You notice nothing, you hear nothing. All you want to do is just curl up underneath this blanket and take a nap, take a break, take a breath, as all the worries of the world slip away. Since you got that
I
one.
have pie and I'm happy. I have pie. Yes.
You are going to take 2 intellect damage, 1 for that one, and 1 for one of these harms.
Okay.
For the rest of this game, you're just a little bit distracted, roleplay wise.
Yeah.
Just a little distracted. You want to be back with that lanky. You want to take that break.
And
Jen, if
My
I'm not
blankie.
mistaken, don't GM intrusions also award the player that they affect in XP?
I'm keeping track.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was a thing or not. That's why I was asking.
It is. Everybody else though. Everybody else. From the open window, over the general sounds of a day. The sounds that are so familiar, carts moving, horses moving, people having quiet conversations. You hear 2 voices just over the top of all the other random noise. A male and a female. They are arguing. But it's a ways off. You can't really hear what they are exactly saying. But something tells you should maybe check that out.
Hear that?
Aye.
It sounds like an unkindness about to happen.
Through all the
I know
angry tone, you suddenly hear the squeal of a very young pig. It's shrill and seems to cut through the distance just a little bit better than the actual voices do.
Well, should we
Do
go
you
check
feel,
it out?
I don't know, do you feel duty bound to go and actually try to help these people because they need helping, even though you don't know that they need helping? Stands up, starts to walk.
All right. Ruth, Raviv, you coming? Ruth? Ruth?
What? I'm awake. I'm awake. I didn't. I'm awake. I didn't fall asleep. I'm awake.
You might want to drop that off at home first, Ruth.
I absolutely will. Thank you. Thank you again.
Before leaving, I stop at the door and say, "Thank you very much. The pie was delicious."
You're
And then
welcome.
turn and go try to deal with whatever.
I'll go with Ruth to go bring the quilt back home.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow Kleber.
Okay. Ruth, where do you
And
live?
I didn't
Are
eat
you
any
in
of the pie.
the little town proper or outside of it?
It's
Wait, whoa, whoa,
probably
whoa. You didn't?
Mm-mm.
Didn't what? Sorry, I missed it.
Didn't eat any of the pie. It was offered, but I didn't get any.
Okay.
Rude? Didn't even try it? Left it right. Who raised you?
Sorry, back to you, Ruth. Where's your house? Where's your homestead?
it's probably closer to town, but not quite in it. Because obviously fire and everything, in case burning embers and whatnot, and plus the fact that people could bring in wagons or large carts they would need to get certain items repaired and whatnot. But it is closer to town proper. Just I'm sure eventually the town will get built up around the forge area
Gotcha.
and whatnot. But yeah.
Okay. All four of you start heading out in the same direction before kind of splitting at the last minute, with Kleber and Glenn following the sounds of arguments, and Raviv and Ruth making a little bit of a pit stop at the Gaskill home. Glenn and Kleber, as you grow closer and closer to the sound of this argument, you can hear two distinct voices. And because you both wander in and out of town at least, they're at least a little bit familiar. One of the voices is Max Hopper, one of the local farmers, mostly livestock, pigs, horses, cows, some ducks, now and then. And the other voice is Miriam Masters. She's also a farmer, more of the vegetable variety. The last few years, her harvests have been, I don't know about legendary, but she certainly has been blessed. But today, over the sound of everything else, you hear her screaming at Max, clutching this also screaming pig. Shouting about how she caught this little monster in her beans. It's the third time this week. I'm about to charge you for everything I've lost because I'm down a third of my corn and a third of my beans, and they ain't even old enough to start harvesting yet. The next beast I catch on my land will be dinner. as she is playing keep away with that little piglet as Max is desperately trying to snatch it back.
I lean over to Glenn. She's down a sizable,
A
like
third?
that.
A
That's her
third of the
profit
price?
margin for the. That's her profit margin for the year, and probably more so. That is an awfully tiny pig to be doing an awfully large amount of damage.
5 years. Oh, 24 months.
Especially for her to be carrying it. Especially for her to be carrying it around like that. She's not a very big lady.
It is a small
I
baby
mean,
pig.
even if that pig was in there the entire time, I can't see it knocking over 4 or 5. I look over at how tall the corn is, probably closer to 2 or 3 feet high. Running through there was one thing, but I mean, that pig was getting fed at its barn, I'm assuming. There's other
More
pigs
than
there, they
likely.
stay,
Max
so
finally manages to snatch the little animal away, sort of growling at her. You grumpy old witch! You know they ain't my animals. This little guy, this is the one that you caught, this is the big thief. They don't get out. My fences are solid. They are gas gill fences. You know gas gills. Best fences around. Ain't nothing get out there. He turns and stomps off. Little piglet still squealing, thrashing.
Are you thinking one of us should go check out his place and one of us goes check out ours?
I'll take the lady because I'm trying to figure out exactly what could have been doing this and where any tracks in those fields might lead. Because wild pigs, yeah, those are a problem. But then again, could be deer, elk, any kind of 4-legged varmint, could be other people. Doesn't make sense to just blame one tiny pig. But I think the big question is going to be one, is he missing any livestock? Two, we do end up checking those fences. And three, I try from this end to see exactly how this has been destroyed and when. Has it been eaten or just trampled or
Or if any of it's mysteriously going rotten. After all,
right?
Katie,
She
Katie
did say
did
it
just
was
mention to us. Katie did just mention to us about crops disappearing and potential food shortage.
famine, I think would probably qualify. I can't help but think somebody getting mad enough if it doesn't rain for a little while. One thrown torch in the wrong part accidentally lands in a hayfield or near some knocked over, dried out corn. You may have enough ashes going to fulfill Katie's dream.
Yeah. All right.
And this is about the time for Viv and Ruth. It's just a quick stop to drop off the quilt. You guys can join in. Wandering up to meet your friends.
Ruth, what do you know about fences?
Specifically, gas gill fences.
Well, since my surname is Gaskill, uh, me personally, not much, but my husband does work with, is a woodworker. Likely, if it's talking about fencing and talking about Gaskill, he made the fence. Why? Who's asking?
More
Out
of
of curiosity,
claiming that his
how likely are his fences to come apart by a small piglet?
Not likely at all, more than anything the piglet could have escaped under. Depends on what the fence boards are, the slats. Potentially the animal could have rooted under or squeezed through. Depends on the size of the pig, depends on the size of the fence.
Was the pig clean or dirty?
The pig.
It's pretty dirty.
Okay. Pigs are remarkably clean animals given the opportunity. So that's why I'm asking here.
It's not like filthy, but it's been outside.
Okay. But not like cake in dirt and mud that would have to come with a lot of digging.
Like average dirty.
Hmm.
All right, Kleber, take the boy with you to go check out her farm. I'll take Ruth to go look at the fences.
You're gonna go to the fences or you're gonna go after Mr. Hopper?
Oh, fault Mr. Hopper assumed going back to his place.
Well, Mr. Hopper's permission would be necessary if you're gonna be looking at Mr. Hopper's fences. Especially if you're
Huh.
gonna have if you're gonna have the person who put those fences in, his wife, they're looking at him with you like a representative. It would be best to do this, make sure everybody's aware of who's where, so that way random shots don't get put off. Because she looks mad enough to be taking shots at anything close to a fence. Last thing one of us needs is flying lead somewhere.
True enough, true enough.
Tell you what, I'm gonna go try. Me and Raviv are gonna go try. Talk to her, see if we can get her permission to at least look around, try to find out what on earth is going on. You do the same, we'll meet probably in the middle, which is probably around that fence.
All right, Raviv,
Do
while you're over
you,
there, look for anything abnormal.
Ruth, do you think you need to get your husband to ask him about these fences if he's the one who put them in? Since his work is being brought into question?
Depends upon the damage. Depends on how much the damage is done to the fence. If it's a
Not
simple matter
sure.
of the animal going under or going over or passing through the slats, no business for my husband. If it's damaged, then yes, he will need to see it.
I'm only asking because Mr. Hopper over there is saying that he's got Gadskill fences, the best ones around, and that's his major defense for why his animals could not be getting into Miss Astor's
Did he,
field.
did he mention if they were damaged, all broken, pieces missing?
He didn't say anything about it, but I'm pretty sure if you ask him, he'll tell you. He'll probably tell you that they're sturdy as the day they were built.
I would hope so.
And I'm sure she's gonna have an opinion that they've got more holes in them than that fancy cheese they have in big city places. More holes in cheese.
I will take your word on that cheese. I've I've not seen any holy cheese unless churches are making them.
Monasteries are known for making very good cheeses. Also, they make
And
really good moonshine.
at Kleber saying they do make really good cheese. Glenn's just gonna roll his eyes and just start walking off after Mr. Hopper.
Yeah. I will I will follow Glenn.
Okay.
Look up Raviv. What was that about?
Oh, I'm sorry, I spaced out there for a moment. What were you talking about? I actually did because I was reading one of my things on my sheet.
Oh, that's the character though.
Player? I love that. The the character? Uh-huh. Um, can we catch up to Miss Master? Is it okay? Is it Master with an M or Aster with an A?
Master.
M-A-S. Okay.
Yes,
Can we catch up to
yes.
her before she gets to her house? or are we gonna be knocking on the door?
If you run, give me a speed roll.
I don't want to chase down an old lady.
Not old.
Go look.
She's maybe 25.
It's okay. We can
Okay,
just
she's probably
spirit walk.
He got called. She just got called an old witch. Okay, I really do think I've got an echo coming through your microphone.
I don't know how. My earbuds are up here and they're on. And that's where all the audio is coming out for.
I got a nat 20 for my speed roll.
So I have no idea how.
Don't worry about it. It's very, very intermittent, and I will let you know if it gets annoying. As you guys kind of like take off after Miss Masters, Cleaver, you see Raviv just like scoot directly past you, as though there is a ghost on his heels, like he is speed walking.
They're not running. They're just spirit jogging.
It's just like,
Spirited jog.
just, Fred Flintstone feet.
Wow, that's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're just
So-
jealous you didn't get to it first.
Raviv, you are more than welcome to get to Miriam before she stomps her way back into her house, if you want to.
I'm gonna
Cleaver
catch
is-
up to her.
Trailing behind.
Ma'am, please, could I ask you a few questions?
She spins around like a fire of rage in her eyes. Like, what do you want?
Oh, we wanted to ask you about the damage in your garden. We heard some animals had been there.
Yeah, you see him?
Yeah, we saw. Well, I heard about the pig. But I
Little,
didn't quite see it.
little monster. It's ruining my crops.
Would it be okay if you maybe gave me a tour of your garden, showed me the damages?
Why? Why do you care?
Well, I'd love to help you out, and as well, I'm sure you've got some lovely flowers back there.
Cleaver, you catch up. About now.
What are you saying about flowers now?
Oh, well, don't you think
He
Honestly,
wants to
Miriam might
spy
be growing some
a
great flowers?
warden for that Hopper guy over there.
man, I don't know anything about spying. I've never knowingly met Mr. Harper. However, I do enjoy finding out the truth of things. May I make an offer?
You like pulled her on.
You would need proof if you were going to take him perhaps to the sheriff, to the judge, to make him pay you for the damage to your crops, yes? More than just your word versus his word. May I recommend that you be so kind as either to give permission or perhaps show us yourself, because you would know the area better than us. Maybe we can find tracks leading from your damaged crops to his property. That would give a direct cause saying, hey, his animals got out, came here, destroyed my crops. He must pay me for them.
Oh, y'all just concerned with the law, huh? Y'all with the sheriff?
I don't know what you plan on doing, but if you're going to do more than just have a yelling match back and forth so much that I can hear you halfway across town, you're going to need something a little bit more strong than just your say-so versus his say-so.
Both of you roll persuasion or something of the sort if you have a training in something that might help.
Wouldn't you like some witnesses to testify in your defense?
I'm trying to say because I'm a woman, I'm not a good witness.
Oh no. Well,
I
if
never
you're only
said
by
anything of-
yourself and there's more than one person on the pig owner's side over there, Max's
My
side.
crops are my witness.
Please forgive him. He is young and does not quite understand how this world works. As you can tell, he's not all the way from around here, although he is a good sword. Jen, I don't have anything but can maybe notice danger,
Then just,
so I'm just
then
gonna roll other skill
clear.
if that's
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Woo!
Oh, heck yeah.
we would be so very honored if you would be kind enough to allow us just to get to the bottom of this matter so that way we can have peace and tranquility in the neighborhood.
Her gaze narrows. So it like flicks from person to person. Fine. But if I find out y'all working with Hopper, you're gonna have to grow your own food. She like turns and stomps around to the side of her house where you can obviously see just a sprawling parcel of land full of just young green crops.
Thank you, Miss Masses. Review, how old are you?
Well, I turned 19 just a couple months ago.
Well, happy belated birthday. If I may make a suggestion, try to be more like the person you're talking to if you really want them to do something for you. Just a suggestion.
And we'll swap back to the other team as they head up the long, winding path to the Hopper house.
As we approach his house, am I able to see the fencing in question?
Absolutely. He owns obviously a absolute ton of land. Most of it is all fenced off.
And how does it look initially coming up?
It's older, like maybe in 5 years or so, maybe needs to be replaced, but from a first glance, you're not seeing any obvious holes or damage or anywhere an animal might have just kind of slipped out. Off to the right, you hear, the snorting and squealing of pigs. You don't see them because fence, but you're pretty sure they're in there.
And do we know if Mr. Hopper went into the house, or should we? Well, no, he took the pig, so I will go in the direction of the pig sounds.
Okay. Then what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just gonna follow her
Okay.
because he was carrying a pig. I was just gonna head towards the pig sounds.
Okay. Both of you approach where the pig sounds are coming from, just about at the same time as you see a very angry, frazzled Max whip open the gate and then slam it back shut behind him, staring at the two of you. Y'all ain't never heard an argument before.
Oh, I've heard a
That's
couple
more curious. Go ahead, Ruth.
as I was saying, I've heard a couple before between myself and my husband, and occasionally my son, but it garnered more interest when I heard my surname and fences being mentioned in the same sentence. Is there a problem with the fences?
No, she don't know what she talking about. Just trying to find someone to blame. I bet she's doing it herself.
Why would she be hurting her own crops?
Well, I'm not saying
Not that I'm blaming you.
but maybe they ain't doing so good. Little Miss Perfect over there. Always the best crops. Always the best food. Last through winter. Blah, blah, blah. Not everybody's good all the time. Maybe stuff's dying off. She just wants someone to blame.
Are you saying your own livestock isn't as good? Clearly, and I indicate the piglets and hogs behind them. They seem to be doing well.
We got good
Nor
ears
are you
and
having
bad
any
ears.
difficulty.
She act like just any old animal can't wander on her property.
Well, you know how us women can sometimes get.
Hysterical.
Indeed, sometimes perhaps she had a pot of peas on the on her stove and they burnt. And so she is dealing out frustrations because it is an awful hard task to shuck the peas and put them into the water and all this other sorts of stuff. It is time consuming. I will say that as a wife and mother, it is very time consuming.
Tiny
So it's
little
perhaps
hands are
just
best for the small tasks.
do I know if Miriam's got kids?
If Miriam has kids,
Yeah.
yeah, she has, we'll say two young
Okay.
girls.
Indeed, she has her daughters to help her with it, but perhaps they've been at school or wandered off chasing butterflies as children do. I'm simply here to do my best to resolve issues and to ensure that my husband's work is still satisfactory.
Well, I ain't got no complaints.
Well, that's good to hear.
Well, Max, do you mind if we just take a look around just to be 100% sure? Wouldn't you be having to pay for, what did she say, a third of her crops and everything that got damaged?
Don't worry
That's a
about
good
that,
chunk of
because I'm
change.
not. But
Well,
if you want to take a look around, go help yourself.
all right. We'll let you know if we find anything.
You won't.
Yes, as you said, my husband does good work.
Good work. He's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky to
Yes,
have
indeed.
him.
Thank you.
He turns around and
Lucky to
walks
be
into
married
the
to
house.
him. And so we walk the fence line.
Yeah, while we're here by the I don't know, the pigsty, I
Mhm.
guess.
Mhm.
With see the unseen, do I see anything?
Um, click so like the exact wording is in chat real quick.
Automatically perceive creatures and objects that are normally invisible, insustainable, or hidden via magic.
We're gonna go with the mundane
Ghost.
use of that. Um,
Okay.
so are you both of you are kind of checking out the fence around the pigs?
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roll me perception. You will have an easier time of it, Glenn.
Okay. Hopefully a hell of
would
an easier time with it.
I'm trained in carpentry. Would I be able to use that instead?
You can, but you'll be looking at it just kind of a little bit different, if that
Okay,
works
I will
for you.
still. Yep.
Not even gonna ask if my crafting would apply for this because it's not. It wouldn't.
Okay. So, Glenn, as you walk the line of the fence, your gaze is sort of tipped downward and outward. You're not really expecting to see anything with your special eyes on the fence itself. It's a fence, it's a normal fence. But as you pace the side of it, you do catch, sort of as you come back around to the area where the gate itself is, tiny little, like, they're not exactly footprints. They don't have the same toes you would expect to see on a human foot. But it is kind of like a spade-shaped impression. Maybe the size of like a toddler's foot. Disappearing into the grass, away from where that latch is. Ruth, you, inspecting the actual fence itself, make a path around. You don't see any places where the slats have gotten loose, where an animal could have gone over or under. They're certainly tall enough. You know, pigs can't really climb. And there's no holes where something would have dug underneath. But as you circle around to the area where the latch is, you see a ton of very faint but tiny scratches, both on the gate itself and where the latch hooks on. Like something was grabbing at it. Something very small
On the inside or the outside of the fence?
on the outside.
Well, that is odd.
Increasingly so.
Because I will gesture to bring Glenn over to show the scratches. Because naturally, any scratches would be inside the fence from the animals trying to escape, not from trying to get in. And if it were a person entering, they wouldn't scratch this. And I don't think a child would do it. They'd simply climb over it like Thomas does. Uh, and no, I'm not blaming Thomas on this. Not having a son is a pig thief. Oh,
Jen, can I roll identifying the magical for trying to identify footsteps or little footprints combined with the scratching at the lock or the latch?
You can roll it, but I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not anything that you've seen in terms of like a magical effect or a magical item.
But could it be a magical entity?
Do you have anything about animals?
It just says identifying the magical and understanding the magical. There's nothing really animal related.
I'm going to say,
So I was thinking like pixies or like fairies or whatnot. That's kind of what my logic was if I was asking.
okay, if that's what you're thinking, you can roll it.
Because you said that the steps didn't look quite human-like.
Mhm.
You want me to just roll unknown difficulty?
Yeah.
I got a 5.
It seems more than anything like something that is on this physical plane. Because if it was something entirely magical, it wouldn't leave as much of a physical trace. But you could not for the life of you pinpoint it to anything more specific than that.
Oh. Well, we take these little scratches if we fair enough, and I'm gonna point at the little footsteps that aren't quite right. We can always follow those. I mean, they just look like they disappear off into the grass, though.
we could.
Ruth, do
But
you have anything to do with, animals or tracking?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Well, at least we know they aren't ghosts, unless ghosts can leave footprints. Can they leave footprints?
Usually, not usually as definitive footprints.
Both of you roll me perception.
11.
Okay. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a cat, kind of like a little calico cat, darting in between fences. Like it saw you and it's super shy and doesn't want to be near you. So it's trying to skedaddle away from you really fast. My dog is asleep. If you hear squeaks.
Excellent.
But the thing that you kind of catch note of, not solidly enough to be able to figure out what it is, but there is something weird with its tail.
I'm used to having an unnerving effect on people, but animals, that's a new one.
Well, if it's a barn cat, they normally are skittish.
Do they usually have something odd going on with their tail?
Define odd.
Normal?
I've seen cats with long tails. I've seen cats with short tails. I even saw one with a broken tail, which that I think a wagon wheel ran over it. Uh, what did the tail look like? I didn't quite see.
There's just something
The best you can
not
tell,
quite.
it wasn't moving it right.
It was not quite moving it the way you would normally expect a tail to move.
Should we go retrieve our expert animal handler? That is Kleber.
If you want to, I'm gonna see if I can follow the cat and try to catch it.
Okay.
I'll stick with Glenn.
All right. Each of you give me a speed roll as I swap over to the other side. Reviving Kleber. As I mentioned before, it is just open fields, fields and fields of of garden and produce. There's some flowers scattered among them, to bring the bees to pollinate the fields, but you do actually both of you roll. If you have something to do with like growing or gardening or horticulture or agriculture, anything like that, you can roll with training. Otherwise, just roll me other skill.
Would living off the land count?
Technically, no, but I will consider it when I see a result.
Okay.
And what about wilderness lore?
What does that do?
You are trained in wilderness navigation and in identifying plants and creatures.
Sure. Well, I'll let that count then.
Woo.
Nice. Heck yeah.
How do I roll with training?
There should be.
Well, wilderness lore was under special abilities.
Okay. Well, then
If you click the
just roll any skill, and it just lowers your difficulty basically.
Okay. Wow. A 2.
doesn't lower it that much.
Um.
Plant.
Right. Just considering both of your backgrounds, I'm gonna say this was actually pretty easy. It's relatively early in the season, and all of these plants are doing really well. Like, except for the ones that have been reportedly destroyed in some way, which you can't immediately see as you approach. Either she started them earlier than she should have been able to, or they are growing faster than they normally should, but she is probably a good month ahead of where you would normally see crops at this point of the year.
These are growing really fast.
Hmm. I mean, unless she was somehow sprouting them ahead of time. I don't know. I mean, My great aunt Gertrude used to take whatever seeds she could find for the winter and sort of put them in a window box in the house to try to keep them warm, but that wouldn't explain this kind of volume. There's acres and acres of this stuff. If I didn't know better, I might say this is just plain unnatural.
Y'all gonna keep gossiping about my crops?
Oh, they're very,
Well,
very
She like yells at
impressive.
you from 20 yards away.
when you see something this remarkable, you do need to remark about it.
Well, then behold. As she moseys over to meet you guys where you're at.
Where did you say the damaged crops were?
They're scattered. I'll show you.
Please.
And she just kind of dives into the field of green before her, pointing out like a patch of stuff on the left, going down a little further, patch of stuff on the right. It's not. Roll me perception, both of you. Just roll me perception. Awesome. Cool. It's not just one crop that seems to have been hit by whatever this is. It is rows and rows of beans and corn and tomato and pepper plants, just whole sections, whole clumps.
Are there any animal tracks?
There are marks in the dirt as you look down, but not tracks that you've ever seen before. Even you, Kleber, you've never seen these footprints before. Like the size of toddler feet, but there are no toes. It just looks like stumps or flat feet, something just in all directions. And not all the plants are destroyed in the same way. Some are pulled up, some are torn up. There are parts that are clean missing. So maybe they were eaten.
Well, I
Does the
don't
soil look like it's
get
been messed with in any way?
What do you mean messed with? Like there are the footprints?
No, I mean like, okay, is it like the plants themselves are still green but like recently torn up, or is this like there's maybe a blight in the soil that's killing the plants and then stuff is happening to them after?
The plants that are still in the ground are flourishing.
So
The
the
bits and
plant's right next to these.
the bits and pieces that have been destroyed, it looks like it was mechanically done, not like biologically done. The bits of leaves and stems and like totally just upended plants that you can see are still green.
Like the cuts are too clean, the breaks are too sharp.
Like it doesn't look like a disease.
Okay. I do not know what this is, but I do know for a fact that there is not a pig on God's green earth who makes a track like that.
Well, you know what else? It ain't. It's not rats. It's not squirrels. It's not rabbits, and it's not deer.
Well, Miss
Were
Movia,
you?
I think. Look at these cuts on these. Are you sure someone's not stealing your plants?
Didn't see nobody out here. All I heard was rustling.
Those are fairly clean cuts. That looks like if I didn't know better, I'd say it was done with a scythe or sickle. Some sort of farming implement rather than kind of be bit off by something.
Kleber, you don't. It's not clean cuts like that. Like knife cuts. It does look like some of the stuff has been chewed on.
Okay. I'm just confused all to hell because some of this been ripped up, some of it's gone, some of it's been chewed on, some of it's been sliced, maybe? I mean, I've been in the wilderness my whole life, and I do not recall coming across anything that can do all of that and leave footprints like this. One thing I do know is there is no barnyard animal that leaves a footprint like this. And we're talking about all these other different kinds of crops. If it were deer or pig, they'd be going after, you know, the younger
Well, it ain't
the younger
deer.
beans and everything. Well, it's not pigs either.
Well, I found that little pig running around in here.
Finding one little pig couldn't have done all this damage.
Doesn't mean the
Look
others
how
won't
high up.
go. It was the only one slow enough to stay behind.
Are you telling me you heard a pig stampede?
I heard rustling.
Rustling enough for a pack. If a pack of pigs had come running through here, wouldn't a lot more of this be trampled in a straight line from where they were going to
Well,
where
I
they got to?
heard it once.
It didn't.
No.
How'd it start?
Started 2, 3 weeks ago.
Oh, and you said you found that little pig 3 times this week.
I found it once.
But you said this has happened 3 times this week in that argument you were having with Mr. What's his name?
Mm-hmm. 2, 3 weeks
Can you
ago
show?
it was little corn here, little peppers there. I just thought maybe something had managed to make its way past my defenses. But the
Defensive?
last week or so, it's just
Are we talking like? Are we talking like my great cousin Abe sitting on top of the barn picking off varmints kind of defenses, or are we talking about like some of them fancy city pesticides or what?
we're talking about you mind your own business.
Very well, I apologize. It's just it might help to know what kind of defenses you have because if it's something set up to like take down a bull, it might miss a pig. Something designed to take down a pig may well not be able to stop a bull. It's the only
It
reason
ain't
I'm asking
rats,
so we can.
squirrels, rabbits, or deer.
So it's not a common pest. It's not disease.
And
I'll
I
tell
ain't
you
yet
what.
figured out how to ward my garden against pigs, but I will. If I gotta do it the old fashioned way.
If I knew anything about Warden, that probably would make a lot more sense to me. I I like hold out a tidbit and I call my hawk down to see if like can you go look for anything that's not supposed to be in a field?
It squawks
Be
at
it
you
other.
and takes off. Doing that spiral search pattern.
I
Just
love
like it
that
always
bird.
does.
Well, Miss Miriam, if we find any evidence, we'll let you know. We do need to find out what's going on. Our friend Kate has sent us to investigate, you know.
She didn't. Kate was talking to us about that dream she had. We heard them screaming from halfway across town.
I don't want none of that Kate business. So if that's what you're here for, you can go.
I don't know what business you're talking about. No, I came over here because I heard y'all screaming. And like any Christian man, I was curious to try to help. If I can ask, did these
Roll
all happen at the
deception.
same time? About what?
Don't have nothing to do with Kate.
No, I said she didn't send us.
Roll deception.
Um, um, yes, all of that great big pile of deception I don't have.
I would rather take not having a pile of deception over having an inability in deception.
True, very true.
She does not call you on anything. That's good enough.
Do these happen at the same time of day or night?
It's always at night.
Always at night.
Always at
Okay.
night.
What
Is there
time is
any,
it right now, by the way? Is it evening?
It's creeping up. Late afternoon.
do they happen just at random spots, or do they happen like on the far edge away from the house, or?
Well, I don't know. I hear rustling. I come out here. By the time I try to figure out where it's coming from, it's already gone.
Hmm. And it's only in this part of your land.
What do you mean, this part of my land?
I mean, okay, didn't you say that like we saw she had other fields?
It is just one giant,
Oh,
like,
okay.
parcel of garden. Like, it is all tilled and
Is
sowed.
it just in is it just in this section of the field, or
Oh, no.
if it
Mm-mm.
it's spread out all over?
She took you on a tour.
Okay. Was it mostly the edges, or was it like all the way into the middle too? Or I'm trying to figure out because if it's all on the edges, that means it's something coming through the woods as opposed to something that's actively looking for specific things.
If you kind of like connect the dots between like the areas of most of the damage,
Mhm.
then it is either popping up out of the center somewhere or coming in from an edge.
Does narrow it down a little bit. Okay. I'm two minds about what we could do about this. Either way, it would need your approval, Miss Masters.
What do y'all want to do?
Well, half of me says, do you know of any men who'd be willing to sort of stand a watch and try to catch this thing before it gets into your crops and starts the rustling that makes you run outside?
Why not us? We could stake out and watch over her fields throughout the night.
Well, that was one of them. The other one was to go and say, hey, maybe we should, if it is who you think it is, why don't we just sit down by the edge of the fence line where they would have to come across? And if something happens and nothing gets past us, or we don't hear anything, then we could say yes or no about Mr. Harper being involved. Or his pigs, more accurately. Either way, we would want to have your permission before we did anything on your property, especially after dark.
And we wouldn't charge you anything, of course. It would be a free service.
What's in it for y'all?
Oh,
Well, you'd like us a little bit more, wouldn't you? For being a friend to a fine lady like yourself is a wonderful prize.
Well, I guess you're right about that. Fine.
who was it?
Y'all can do whatever you want.
Is there one plan or the other that you think would be more effective?
No idea.
Is-
I'm not very
Okay.
used to dealing with critters.
Well, just because you asked or you mentioned them, how far out are your defenses I mean, are they just at the edge of the crops, or are they like way out in the woods, or like where should we be looking to post a guard just in case we're trying to catch something coming in?
All I can tell you is not rat, squirrels, rabbits, or deer.
I know, but if I'm trying, I don't know a thing about defenses, at least not in this context.
It starts where the green starts.
I do love the green. I miss the green. All right. Well,
Oh, sorry.
Well, Cleaver, should we go find Ruth and Glenn?
would you mind if we had other people giving us a hand tonight?
I said you can do whatever.
I just wanted to be on the safe side. But thank you very much for your permission.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Glenn and Ruth are chasing after a cat.
Yeah, or just following the cat.
Yep.
Cat with tail
Zig,
that don't
you
work
zag.
right.
Eventually, you kind of like corner it up against a barn. And you manage to get close enough, at least, to see that while its tail isn't broken, it does seem to be missing like a clump of fur with like faint little scratches where the fur once was.
Where it was.
Mm-hmm. You heard me.
I'm glad I heard you right on that. God, why does it feel like I keep slouching? Ugh.
Because I do.
I feel like it's really short today. I don't know why.
Short always.
Extra short.
It's 5'2".
5'3". 4-inch shoes.
Oh, what do we have here? Is that a clump of fur missing out of its tail?
It could have been in a fight.
Hmm. What's what? Another barn cat.
Cat, dog, rodents, terrible child. I don't know.
Terrible child. I'm gonna bend down. I'm gonna pull out a little bit of like a ration, because it just says rations on my travel pack, so whatever kind of ration it would be,
Okay.
and just hold it out gingerly towards the cat.
Just roll me other skill.
Glenn's not great with cat animals. An 8. Just trying to see if it's hungry or if I can get it closer to where I can, inspect more.
Okay. It seems curious about whatever you're holding out to it. And it like pads very gingerly over, eyes locked on you at all times, ready for you to pull something fishy. But it does get close enough that you can kind of see. And since Ruth is also right there, it kind of looks like the same sort of claw marks that were on the fence latch. But, cats get into fights all the time. And it's about that point at which this cat suddenly turns on you, Glenn, and slashes and claws straight across your arm, drawing like lines of blood, doing 2 bite damage. That's only half of this waiting harm for you, but enjoy.
Cat scratch fever. Take it and see.
You best clean that before it gets infected.
It like shoots off
That'll be
down
fine for
between
now.
buildings.
That did have the same kind of scratch marks though on it that were on that hatch though, right?
Seem
they
to have,
just-
yes.
Literally just
It burns. It burns.
It'd be
Ruth
fine.
just sighs and rolls her eyes.
What are you sighing about? It'll be fine.
Rub some dirt on it.
I swear, the three of you, you're all like my grown children at some point. I don't know how, but you are.
I don't know if I should be offended by that or not.
I don't know if I should be
I
either.
should be offended by that, but
Well, she sees us as family. Why would she be offended?
You're not there.
Well, she said the three of you. I thought maybe we were there now.
I mean, you guys could be if you would like to kind of roll up.
Quit talking to yourself, boy.
I suppose we should go find the others. Let them know that the fence looked like it was intact. Only odd thing were the
And,
cat, the little footprints, and the scratches on the latch.
and again, hopefully Cleaver will be able to better identify these things. At least be able to track whatever the thing is.
Wonder if they made any progress over there.
As you see the two of them kind of make their way up the road toward you.
Likely not.
Hmm. Well, speak of the devil, and he shall arrive, I suppose.
Hmm.
As we're leaving the garden, am I able to pick up a handful of dirt?
Sure.
Cleaver, did you find out anything useful over there with the Lady Master's garden? Chef, you're muted. Nope, still can't hear me.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yep.
Now.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's got a built-in button that I must have accidentally hit.
Oops.
Ah, makes sense.
Well, there's a lot over there that might be important, and there's a lot over there that might be suspicious. And there's a lot over there that doesn't make any damn sense at all.
There's a lot to you that doesn't make sense now, isn't there?
Yeah, mostly if it comes in an Irish accent. So, we were out there. Raviv, how would you best describe that?
Well, it was a beautiful patch of land full of healthily growing fruits and vegetables that looked as if they were maybe 3 or 4 months old.
At least a month ahead of where they should be. Which I still don't understand. There was also a bunch of, like, patches of just destroyed stuff. Destroyed in all different kinds of manners on all different kinds of plants. Corn, beans, peppers,
Hmm.
just about everything. And it's not like it's all in one area either. It's spread out so much I can't tell if it's coming from the outside, the inside, or I don't know. For all I know, they're dropping from the sky. I have these weird little footprints running around that ran in and everywhere. I've never seen the like.
Let me guess. One big ball, 3 toes.
You've only got 3 toes.
I don't. But was
What are
that
you
kind of
talking
like what the
about?
track you saw?
Yeah,
More like
something
that.
like that.
About yay big-ish.
A little bigger and a bit stumpier, but yeah, close. One thing I
Something
can't
like
figure.
that.
They were They were destroyed in all manner of ways. Some of them were just pulled all the way out. Some of them just had parts just straight missing. Some of them been chewed on. Some of them hadn't. Some of them looked like, if I didn't know better, I'd swear somebody went and took a hoe out there, tried to cut it down. But plus, I know what it ain't. It ain't a rabbit, squirrel, deer, or a rat. And I know that part very particular because Miss Masters said she had defenses. She got real sensitive about that part. Something about a warden on her garden starts about where the green does. Also, I don't know what she's got against Katie, but that woman hates Katie something awful.
Most people around here don't particularly care for her.
There's not caring for somebody, and then there's actively about to tell me to get the hell off her property just because I know her.
Well, you
That's
can always ask Kate.
I
Well, if
could.
you didn't happen to see anything of a less natural sort over there, did you?
Oh, just say it. There's the four of us, and I don't know, looks like a bunch of pigs down the way.
And one irate
Just
cat somewhere.
wait, what'd you do to the cat? What'd you do to
We
the
didn't do
cat?
anything. We didn't do anything to the cat. The cat had fur missing on its tail. We were trying to
If,
inspect
I,
it.
if anything,
That
the cat
blood
did things
dripping.
to us.
That blood on your arm makes me think that you tried to do something.
I tried to feed it a piece of jerky.
You tried to feed a strange cat some dried food that stinks all straight to hell of humans when that thing has got something missing off its tail and more than likely either a cart, horse, human did something to it. That may be one of the dumber things I've heard about today. Here's a hint for next time. Just leave it there, out, away from you, back up,
Well,
either
Glenn,
sit down cross-legged, and don't stare at it. Okay? Look away, check it out your side vision. If it wants to come out, it'll come out, but you trying to hold it is literally you trying to turn yourself into a trap for that thing. And it will try to fight you. You never tried to catch a bobcat before, have you?
Catch one? No. Run from him? Yeah.
Well, did you ask him its name? Maybe you called him Bob and it should have been Larry. Anyway,
I might have something that could help us back at my cart, and Glenn could probably help as well. I mean,
Help
help
with.
us figure out what's going on. I got my crystal ball and my table set up already. We could ask some questions.
Mitch, how badly are you just wanting us to have a seance?
Pretty badly, but I do have a
Look, just if
plan
you
with
have my
on my
crystal ball,
character sheet.
I can summon and I can summon spirits.
I can tell you though, and a barn animal alive leaves tracks like that what we found. So I don't know what the hell this thing is, but I do know it's not anything over there on his property.
Well, there were some tracks over there that matched what you described as well, over at Mr. Hopper's place, leading away from the pigsty. I disappeared off into the grass, though. Were also scratches, like someone was trying to fiddle with the latch.
On the
Something with that.
outside.
Like something was trying to get in.
More than likely.
Yeah,
We thinking like foxes. We thinking like wolves, bears, badgers,
No, tiny
weasels.
scratches. Tiny scratches around the latch.
Right,
And on the cat.
possibly. Well, a scratch on a cat could be damn near anything. I'd have to get a lot closer to look at it, but there being scratches only around the latch implies that it's something that knows what the latch does, meaning it's a higher order creature. Possum, they probably could figure it out.
Possum would climb over the fence.
I'm pretty sure a
Most
raccoon
animals
also
would
could
climb
climb
over a fence rather than deal with a latch.
I'm trying to think of anything that can do it. After that, I was going to shorten down the list to what would do it. But what would need to get into a pigsty? Is he missing any animals or anything?
Didn't say that he was.
Did you ask?
Ruth, did we ask
Uh,
if he was missing any animals?
No, we didn't. I was more concerned about the fence.
Was we in trouble with the fence?
No.
No. Fence looks like it was intact.
So whatever this is, it was going through the gate. Are we sure there isn't just another person out here screwing around with somebody?
With feet about that big, I don't think so, unless they're, little toddler walking around with the intelligence of a man.
Well, there are all kinds of things in the woods around here. Perhaps a brownie or a goblin could be doing it.
All right, so what is the plan?
Um, I think we were gonna go. Well, Raviv and Kleber had talked about staking out the fence in the field.
They sure were. They just had not mentioned it to you guys yet.
No.
Well, we can also stake out the field. Spend the night outside under the stars.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
It wouldn't take long to gather everything I need, at least.
What does a warding do? Anybody?
Generally keeps things out.
Yeah, it's like
Particularly
a
anything unwanted.
protection.
So if all of this, so if there's literally tons of food and every squirrel, rabbit, rat, and deer in the area can't get to it, are they coming over here and trying to steal the barn, like the farm animals feed?
Or the
That
animals.
might
Question.
that might explain why if his pigs or anything are getting out, maybe they're out trying to forage food because theirs is getting eaten. I
How
think
about we
y'all.
first try to catch whatever this is first, and then ask it questions if it is intelligent?
I was going to ask why don't me and Raviv go get his cart and everything that we need to stake this out, and y'all go ask Mr. Hopper over there a few questions and then get his permission, so that way he doesn't think we're coming over to his house from his master's or vice versa, because I don't want to be getting shot at in the dark.
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll meet y'all back here as soon as we can. Raviv, anything else you think we need?
Well, I keep all of my stuff on my cart, so
Ruth, we need to pick anything up for you?
Uh, Depends on how violent you want me to get. Just bring the
Hands,
usual
bro.
hammer.
Anything we need to tell anybody? I need to tell the doctor to be on standby.
No, and Samuel should be able to fix dinner. He'll be fine. If you see him, let him know that I'll be late tonight. And if you don't see him, simply leave a note.
Schism.
Okay.
Cool.
So who's going where?
Well, I guess Lude and I are going back to Hopper, or yeah, to Mr. Hopper's house, his old
Yep.
farmland.
Okay. We're just gonna say that after a grumpy back and forth, he'll just give you permission to do whatever. As long as he doesn't catch you stealing.
I will reassure him that we're trying to prevent any theft.
Kind of dumb of us to be stealing after we introduced ourselves.
Ashley is dying.
I'm not dying.
That was a yawn.
I am perpetually tired.
All right, so we're
Know
gonna
the
move
feeling.
Cleaver. Where are you going? What are you doing before you come back together?
Just going
Back
and
to their
retrieving
house,
my cart.
Tramier?
getting the stuff, leaving a note.
Okay.
That's it.
What are you getting from your cart?
Well, I only need a sleeping bag and my hookah for the night.
Okay.
And I'll take my foldable fortune telling table too.
Okay.
He wants to do this
So bad.
so bad.
So entirely bad.
I'm not summoning a spirit for the seance, Smith.
I'm not wanting to do a seance so much as a fortune telling.
All right. So as the sun like dips down below the horizon, you guys join back up together. Where do you decide to camp out exactly?
Mm, probably safer to set up our little camp on Mr. Hopper's side of the fence, where there's less, plants that are growing there.
Why is that?
Plant.
Because plants.
Hmm.
The way you made it describe it, you made it sound like she's got like a few acres of land that is just covered in farmland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get on her bad side for accidentally setting anything on fire. If we make a fire.
Well, we got her permission for y'all to come over, so it's not like she's gonna be upset. But
Well, she might be upset if we accidentally cause more damages.
So the way
well,
like these
yeah, but
properties are laid out, they are more or less next door with kind of like a neutral zone in between the two. So do you perhaps want to sort of set up camp in this neutral zone between the two?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Sounds like a good idea. We'd see him going through right there if they're passing properties.
here's something won't go on one way or the other.
Okay. So you guys settle in, make camp as the sun dips down and it gets dark outside. Do you when you set up, what all do you do? What do you
Um, well, when we're setting up, I just lay out my sleeping bag, set little brewing coffee, campfire coffee brewer
okay?
up to get coffee going because
So you make a
we're
fire.
likely going to be up.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't have
If
use fire. Well, I guess it does say prepare, not create. Never mind. Fuck. Let's say
or
hedge
do we want
magic
to fire
the
it?
guy.
Do you want to make a fire so you can see?
Okay.
Being's overrated.
Do any of you
I'm
have
gonna
like
be
I don't know
about
lanterns or
Let me see.
I have a flashlight in my travel pack.
cool?
Is the fire
you
just
have
for
an
light?
electric black light
It
before
just
the
says
Civil War.
it says, and this is from the book. Travel pack contains 50 feet of rope, rations for 3 days, 3 spikes, hammer, water-resistant clothes, sturdy shoes, and a flashlight.
We call it This game spans a really
Probably
long
a
time
lantern.
period, so we'll just say it's like a lantern.
Yeah.
Okay. Reviv, do you want to do
Sometimes.
something with your fortune telling?
As I'm setting up my part of the camp, I'll set up my sleeping bag, my table. It's like a circle table with a green silk cloth over it, and the crystal ball in the center, and my
Then
hookah
when he
next
sets
to
the
it.
when he sets the crystal ball down, can I use hedge magic? Because it says I cannot use hedge magic to harm objects, but I can use it to float small objects. Can I float the crystal ball above the table? Just for shits and giggles.
Sure, does it cost you
It cost me 1 point of intellect to use
Okay.
hedge magic.
Okay. So as you like the
Just
second
for
you set
shits and
down,
giggles.
the crystal ball, like it's like gravity rejects it and it just sort
Yeah.
of hovers.
Do I notice that Glenn is doing this, or is it just like,
Just from the other side of our little temporary camp, Glenn's just what Reviv would know is Glenn's wand, but to the other two just looks like a stick. Just swish and
either way, I'm going to pretend Reviv doesn't notice. Whoa, the energies are strong here. Does everyone see this? I'm going to cast Foxfire on the crystal ball to make it glow and put the handful of dirt. I'm going to make a circle around it from Miriam's garden. And I'm going to use an experience point to use. Let's see, what was the name of it? Sudden Vision.
Okay.
A flash of insight provides you with a clear answer or suggests a course of action with regard to an urgent question, problem, or obstacle you're facing. Just wave his hand or their hands around it. Oh, great spirits, answer my question. What's attacking Miriam's garden? Stare furiously into the crystal ball.
It's not the crystal ball that gives you an answer, and I think you know that. The dirt and like the tiny fragments of foliage that was in the dirt you scooped up kind of grow hot in your hands, a little itchy, like maybe you've touched something you shouldn't. But as that feeling intensifies, your brain travels elsewhere. You're no longer sitting in your own body. You're sitting in the middle of the field, and all you hear from all directions is rustling and the pitter patter of tiny feet, all converging toward you. And if you listen very closely, you can hear 3 sets of very light, very fast feet. And the glint of 2 bubbly eyes in between the stalks of corn surrounding you.
Well, something is in the corn. We need to check the corn.
That's no one's surprise because he's so weird always.
Did my bird ever come back and tell me if he saw anything?
Oh, yeah. He
I
found
forgot all about the bird.
like a couple of shiny coins just sprinkled all throughout the area. Like little baubles, little maybe like brooches and coins.
Mm.
Maybe they were just shiny and caught his eye, or maybe it genuinely was weird for him to see them.
Through however many feet tall of corn? Probably. I look at the coins. I'm assuming he just comes in and drops them off
Blech.
right as we oh how thank he'd bit piece of pie crust. Does this make sense to anybody? I look like I'm holding effectively a magpie's nest of shiny. that was found over in the cornfield.
People work in the fields, they'll drop it.
I don't know many people who wear brooches when they work in the field.
I don't know.
I
be
got a
berries,
sneaking
could be-
suspicion that
Could be any number of fair folk.
fair folk. There haven't been a fair in this town for at least 3 years.
You said the dirt had a burning feeling when I used the vision, right?
It got hot and itchy.
Did it have like any sort of smell to it?
It smelled green. Like that bright, herby smell.
Okay. I'm gonna use sensing danger.
Okay.
With a 5. That's not very good.
It's not. It's really not very good. Um, Mostly because of your vision. You do know that there is something potentially dangerous out here. It doesn't feel like it is natively and always dangerous, whatever it is. Like you didn't get the feeling of dread that you got when you stared at the face of the angry ghost back in Mitchellville. It seems more mischievous, if you had to give it a word. But there is definitely something out there. Probably 3 somethings.
I think we might be dealing with, yeah, some sort of fair folk, like Glenn said. I know there's 3 of them out there. We should probably go catch them and figure out what's going on. There's probably a deal made that wasn't fulfilled.
Pull out
Probably
the
something to do with this beautiful garden Miss Miriam has.
I lean over to Ruth. No, seriously, there hasn't been a fair around here in like 3 damn years. I think we'd have noticed if somebody stayed. What the hell are they talking about?
Fairies, goblins,
The good people.
brownies.
The what?
The good people. My grandmother would tell stories about them
I'd like to think we're
from
all good
Ireland.
people. Oh, great, more. It's more of your kind. So they're good,
My,
fair people from Ireland.
no,
Not quite.
the little people. Leprechauns, fairies.
But don't tell him leprechauns. He's really gonna think they're from fucking Ireland then.
Go ahead and roll me perception while you guys are bickering about fairies and sideshow acts.
I'm not bickering. I'm genuinely. He's lost. He doesn't
I'm just pulling it
understand
out
magic.
there. Yeah, when Raviv was just saying maybe it is fair folk, I pulled out the little wind chime, just holding it so the light catches it
What light?
from our little fire.
It sure does
From the
gleam in that firelight.
I'm gonna entice something to come over.
Is that all my rolls? Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's more than enough for all of you. So, as you guys start to talk, all of a sudden you hear the rustling, like wind through a cornfield. But it's coming from the wrong direction. It's coming from off toward Hopper's farm, not from the garden itself. After a couple of minutes, you hear the sound of scratching at wood. And then the sound of a gentle creak of a gate being pulled open.
Well, we should go over there. I mean, it sounds like what we're here to see is here.
Yeah, as soon as I hear the scratching, I will start
Mhm.
heading over there.
I'll follow behind. Oh, I forgot her name. If I can just look at the
Ruth.
registry. Ruth. With my crystal ball in my hand, so it's glowing for light.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait and sort of step back so I can try to have as much of this neutral area in vision, just to see if there's any like rustling. Hopefully my eyes will have adjusted eventually.
Okay. So Ruth and Reviv, you guys are heading toward the noise. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Glenn, what are you doing? Are you staying behind
I'm staying with
Cleaver?
Cleaver.
Okay. As Reviv and Ruth start to hike off toward where the pig pens are, that sound is about where you think you're heading. Both of you give me roll me dodge really quick.
Is that speed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I rolled
Follow the
horrible.
crystal ball.
Mm.
Crystal dodgeball.
Reviv, you are so spry and fast, as evidence from your roll earlier, that you just kind of accidentally charge ahead, and before you know it, you are flipping end over end as you run solidly into a brick of meat as just a whole cluster of pigs come squealing at you and then past you. You land solidly on your back in the dirt, doing 2 might damage. That takes care of those bricks. Ruth, you manage to like pull up short just in time to avoid tripping over this cluster of pigs heading directly for the farm to the side, and to avoid tripping over Reviv as he hits the ground.
I will help him to his feet.
Well, something let those pigs out. But where is it?
Are we next to the gate, or do we still have a ways to go?
You have a little ways to go, but you can see just in the like dim outline of night, you can see the gate from where you are.
Well, hopefully it's still up there, and I will continue on up, see if I can find it.
Whatever made the noise, whatever pried open the gate, you see some fresh scratches, some fresh footprints, but you don't see the actual thing that made them. Meanwhile, Glenn and Kleber, you hear just the thump of hooves on the ground and the occasional snort and squeal as like no less than a dozen pigs hustle your way. They're not heading directly at you like an attack, but they are heading for sure toward Miriam's gardens.
I start running toward like at an angle toward where I think they're gonna be, yelling my head off, trying to scare and steer them away.
Okay. Roll for it. If you have something like intimidation, um, you can use that as trained.
Wilderness life, wild hardiness. The closest I have is either noticing danger or tracking, so I think I'm gonna have to do this
Yeah, just do either.
unhelped.
Yeah.
Unhelped. Come on, RNG.
Okay. About half of them sort of pull up short and take the angle your wild shouting and flailing suggests. The rest of them do not. Instead, they clip you just like they clipped Mitch, and you end up stumbling sideways, landing hard in the dirt. For 2 might damage, that is your bricks taken care of.
Oh God, they were pointy.
I feel like you might have tweaked something in your back.
Oh, not again.
Bummer.
In my bum or my back?
You did fall on your bum, so take your pick.
Right on my aya.
The half veer off somewhere into town. The others plunge forward into the swath of green.
Glenn, I got these.
The ones in town or not?
Hmm? The
I
ones
say,
in, yes.
no, I say,
Hmm.
as I say that, I'm going over the fence. I'm going to the ones that went into Miriam's uh, gar farm.
Okay.
Um, and Jen, I know it might potentially be an intimidation thing, but can I crack the whip to try to scare the pigs off?
Sure. Just roll the whip, I guess.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
If you haven't figured it out, even though I was trying to do this as an intimidation thing, I didn't know my charm, persuasion, or deception thing, which is an inability or not.
No, I mean they're pigs. How far do you get into like the garden? Or are you just at the edge? Because they're like munching their way in.
I'd probably go like about halfway.
Okay, like just sprint down a row, or are you still outside the garden?
No, just going in the garden.
Okay,
Just sprinting down a row.
just try to like cut them off, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. You charge ahead, like leaves slapping you in the chest. Circle around, manage. These pigs have slowed down significantly the second they reached something green and crunchy to eat. You do notice that the footprints they are leaving behind are normal pig footprints. They do not match the footprints that you have seen previously. But you crack that whip and they scatter. All of the ones that had made their way, they just basically break up because it's not worth it anymore and sprint back out into the open field. Not in one direction, just scattered.
Eh, getting him out of the field was the main objective here.
And about the same time as the noise and cacophony of these sprinting pigs dies down, you hear behind you something rustle.
Pulls out wind chime again, turns around, ready to offer the wind chime up to what I assume is either a brownie, a pixie, or a fairy.
Give me a perception roll.
Is
I
no one gonna make a clever girl reference?
I
Really?
I am looking for I was looking for
That
12. So that's good. As you kind of like stare out, lantern, I assume, held out in front of you, you see between rows of corn, and you see them like flutter as though something is running past. You also see the glimmer of the weirdest set of eyes you've ever seen. They're not like any other animal eyes you've encountered in the wild. They glint off of the light, but it's not a single pinpoint of reflection. It's like the eyes in these things' skulls are bubbly or rough, huge, but fractured.
Oh.
And against them, their bodies, all you can see are angular, scrawny brown fur or mold or something with maybe woven corn husks covering their skin. And just as soon as you see it, it's gone again. Deeper into the garden.
Jen, I would like to point out that you've literally given us the description of like a brownie goblin hybrid.
It was
I
very
imagined a
specific.
grasshopper person with like bug eyes.
This is a
As a
kobold, isn't
player,
it?
as a player who has the book, I know what this is.
Yes, you do.
But my character doesn't know
No,
because
she
she ain't
don't.
there. She doesn't know
I have the
anyway.
book too, but I haven't bothered to look at it.
Where is that?
It's pulled up in another tab.
Viv and Ruth, what are you guys doing? Are you going to continue over to the gate or are you going back to the garden?
When Reviv got up, they went after the pigs, so they've probably shown up just after all this happened to Kleber and Glenn.
Yeah, hearing the yelling and the cracking of the whip and everything, I'd probably run back too.
Hey, roll another dodge.
There.
11.
Both of you. That's fine.
Yay!
The second you hear the whip crack, the pigs come like squealing back towards you, but they've scattered enough that they're easy enough to avoid. Kleber, what are you doing?
I'm doing my best to try to turn these pigs so they're not going to go into the field. And then I'm going to try to double back in there and see if I can either, because right now I don't know about anything else but the pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to go find the rest of the pigs.
Okay. Well, the
Currently.
half are still heading toward town. The ones that you
Right.
deflected from the garden, and the other half have been turned away by Glenn's whip.
Okay.
So there are currently no further pigs in the garden.
Oh, they've all been okay. In that case, I suppose I would start like sort of a couple of rows in, going back towards the way I came, looking to see how much damage, if any, there was.
Okay. In that case, you can kind of hear Glenn moving around somewhere in front of you ish. But then you also hear the sound of a rustle that is like wind through a cornfield, because that's a familiar sound, but not like wind through this cornfield. It's the same kind of rustle you would hear maybe in late autumn as things were starting to die, kind of a rough crackle.
Too dry. I'm going to slowly turn towards the unknown rustle with my hand like on the handle of my hatchet, not drawn, but clearly about to be. I kneel down and start trying to look at about what I think would be the normal height of whatever was cutting down the corn stalks.
Okay. Evens or odds?
Odds.
Roll me dodge. As a clawed, small but very sharp hand lashes out at you from between the stalks.
Nope.
Mm.
That'll be 2 points of damage as these
Oh
sharp
god.
talons just rip into the meat of your arm.
That put me at impaired.
I don't know, are you at 0 for might?
Oh no. In that case, that puts me at 7. Do not like this.
God damn, I died
Still
in
up.
real life. It was like I got clawed.
Still up. Still up.
4D. You say anything?
As I get hit with it.
You're able to see like this bulbous head with like rusty corncob eyes against like a mat of moldy fur and just a pointy little smile. Like a pointy goblin like smile.
I jump at it and try to grab it by the throat.
Okay. Roll just an unarmed attack.
I don't actually have any.
Roll a d20.
Okay, I was like, I don't have an attack on this.
Hey, look at that. GM intrusion. Those are
Mm.
great.
Anyone want to spend an XP to help him out?
I can. Oh, I don't think I can. I think it's
I-
only if it affects me. Hold on, let me read it.
Oh no, you
It's
can.
not worth it. No, this is gonna be
Hold on.
hilarious.
And anyone can. It's not a GM intrusion. It's just a thing with XP that you can
Well,
do.
I can do it without spending an XP. With throw salt. When something bad happens, you act on your beliefs to dispel it. Once after each 10-hour recovery roll, you can refuse a GM intrusion without spending XP. I'm just gonna throw my crystal ball at the creature.
To
Are
be
you
fair,
anywhere
this is not a
near
GM
me?
intrusion.
Okay.
It's just a failed
Oh
roll.
no,
Okay.
Okay.
oh no, Jen, I meant the GM intrusion because you rolled. And
No.
this is been.
In that case, I can't use that to help you. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I think this is. I, the player, think this is gonna be funny.
What do you have on your
Or the
person, Kleber?
Um,
Do you?
right now,
Mhm.
my hatchets, my compass, probably some odd change. Not too much right now. I wasn't really planning on going out working, for lack of a better term.
Okay. As though its attention is like drawn by the glint on your hatchet, it latches onto you. This thing is maybe 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall, but
Okay.
its claws are sharp and it digs in like it has gone mountain climbing, and you are the mountain, my friend. You are the mountain. It's got a set of claws in each side of your arm as it gnaws at the hatchet, unafraid of it. It doesn't seem to recognize that this here is a weapon, but it's curious and wants to explore with its mouth. So take 2 more might damage.
Okay.
And this now is a GM intrusion that you may reject by spending 1 XP.
Okay.
But if you do not, you can get an XP.
I'm too curious to refuse this.
Okay. Roll might.
Computer, what are you doing? Woo!
Okay. All right, where its
Okay.
claws kind of like dig in, it
Mhm.
hurts, but it also feels kind of like burny, itchy. But
Okay.
this thing is latched on. You have like a 40, 50 pound tiny scraggly little simian of some kind attached to your body right now.
Okay.
What is everybody else doing while
Okay,
he's
well, I can do
making
it.
friends?
Can I see him being bear hugged around the legs by this?
You can hear commotion and you can see like the flash of movement through the stalks. Maybe 10, 12 feet away from you.
Okay. I'm gonna start heading towards the movement and the sounds of commotion.
Okay.
And profanity.
And profanity. Um,
Ruth, Raviv, what are you guys doing?
Well, I can't throw the crystal ball at it.
You could.
Yep, then I might hit Kleber.
Like that would do worse than what's going on now.
at least it won't hit the ground if you throw
Y-
it.
Well, I'm gonna run towards it and basically try to remove the thing from Kleber, like grab it by the back of its neck or whatever, and just try to yank it free.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna help Ruth with that.
Okay. Then roll might with help. I'm only looking for a 3.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
It is a tug of war. Even with the 2 of you helping, this thing is scrappy. It does not want to let go. It has found a new friend and a new toy, and it wants it. It wants it.
Ow!
But eventually,
Those are
you
in me.
overcome its just wiry, pure strength and like rip it free. It's like arms and legs just a flailing.
Son of a bitch!
Oh, calm down. You'll be fine.
Glenn, you know that is not the direction you heard a noise in.
Not. Oh, well.
The original Russell did not come from that direction. And now that Kleber has stopped shouting, you hear the noise of movement again.
Oh, we've caught one of them. I'm gonna take my silk cloak off and try to wrap it up like a bag.
Now that I can see this, see the creature, um, just gonna. Can I do that? And I didn't roll great, but can I do that? Can I pet that dog?
Evens or odds?
Uh, Evens, and I'll spend 2 points of intellect to lower it. It's difficulty.
Ooh.
I will give it to you, but not yet.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds fair.
You're gonna need one more clue, and you're gonna get it. Ruth, since you were clearly left in charge of this thrashing Claude, it's kind of too small to be a beast. It would maybe be cute if it wasn't so gross and scrappy.
And corn-like. Yes.
All of a sudden, you hear like this ripping noise, and whatever is in your hands is immediately lighter. And when you look down, all you see is the woven paper shell that had once been its clothes in your hands.
Oh God, it's naked.
As this thing completely bare, it looks like its fur is raw, like somehow its shell was attached to it. But it is again storming toward Kleber, trying to grab him, while this double in your hands is still thrashing.
Oh, that okay. Yeah, that's new.
And Glenn, with that clue, you've never seen one. It sounded dumb that one time someone told you about it at a bar. But I'm pretty sure that thing's called a shuck. It.
Well, shucks.
There it is.
hmm
Do you know?
Uh
Do you have understanding magic?
huh.
Okay, roll that really quick.
Yeah, we're going to effort on this one.
You know they're not like you hear. They're not malicious creatures. They are just are hungry. Hungry and curious. Glenn, Reviv, and
Hi.
Kleber. Everybody make me your dodge.
I don't want to go in the cart.
15. Burger King foot lettuce.
Okay.
Burger King foot.
It's a meme.
Okay.
Reviv, you hear like the explosion of leaves behind you and manage to like sidestep one of these creatures launching itself at you. Kleber, you see this naked corn rat scampering toward you and you manage to dodge as well. Glenn, you were looking in the wrong direction. And all of a sudden, there is something spiky and heavy latched onto your back, digging claws into you, doing 2 damage to you, and now I am all done. I am all done. Thanks, Patreon.
I'm gonna take the little shiny glass wind chime that I've been holding with the lantern. The lantern here, wind chime here. I'm just gonna hold the wind chime up above my head for the one on my back and just jingle jingle.
It immediately grabs for it.
Jingle.
It leaves gashes behind where it was clinging desperately to you.
Yeah.
But it grabs for the jingle jangles. And the other two, at the sound of the glass clinking together, like stop and look.
All right, you hungry little fuckers. Will you get off my back?
It's just trying to grab. It's just trying to grab at the wind chime.
Oh no, I as soon as I'll hand it to it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I thought you were holding it there.
No.
Its grubby little fingers. You can hear like the talons scratching against the grass. It's very unpleasant, but it holds on to and leaps off of you, like showing off its brand new prize.
All right.
The other two immediately drawn by this thing that seems like weirdly shiny, even though the light it's reflecting. There's not that much of it. It is bright.
I'm gonna pull the little travel pack off, and I'm gonna pull out all of the rations. I'm gonna hand each one of the shucks an equal amount of ration. Come on, it's enough ration to last 3 days.
They are entirely too distracted by the glimmering wind chime. All 3 of them just huddled around it, like poking, shaking it so that it makes noise.
soon as I just ignore the rations, I scoop my rations back up, stick them back in the travel pack.
You hear like the tink 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 of one of it like trying to bite one of the pieces of glass.
So that's it? We tell Miss Miriam to leave something out shiny, like for crows?
Shiny or food?
Eventually, Ruth, the husk in your arm stops twitching and just falls apart.
So,
And I drop it and wipe my hands on my dress, and yeah.
well, hopefully she believes us.
Well, if one of you wants to go get her while we got them here.
Well, one of us could, I'm sure.
I will gladly go do it so I can.
By one of us, I meant the one who hasn't been one of the two who hasn't been impaled by these things now.
Well, I haven't been impaled. It just shed its skin on him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like I said, one of the two that hasn't been impaled.
Yeah. So I will gladly go to her door, wake her up, and bring her back to show her what the heck these shucking things are.
She is
Mother shuck.
groggy and disheveled, but she'll follow you out to take a look at them as they still are transfixed by this shiny musical object that they keep passing between each other. Although they've started to seem like they're fighting over it. The less playful, a little more aggressive as it shifts hands back and forth. Miss Masters comes out and immediately just stops and stares.
Found out what's been destroying your crops.
What the hell is that?
They're shocked.
Careful. They should.
What do you mean they should?
Oh, yeah. You see the corn husks on them. They use it as clothing and armor.
What am I supposed to do with these things?
I don't know.
Maybe
What'd you do with the deer?
Well, the deer just can't come in. I don't know. My grandmama ain't
Okay,
dealt
'cause
with
I-
one of these things before.
They like shiny
Okay.
stuff, and they seem to leave the crops alone after you give them some shiny stuff.
For fair folk like these, they generally like food. Well, these ones especially love food. Anything that's nutritious. But they're also enticed by shiny things, as long as there's enough for all of them.
Well, I can't keep feeding them.
Well, maybe leave some pennies out for them every now and then.
Pennies ain't food.
Well, they
Oh,
don't like shiny stuff.
Everybody roll me either perception or like empathy. Either of those.
damn.
Jeez.
Only one of us with perception.
Sure doesn't matter though.
Nope.
Nope.
Hey, it's dark. I'm on my back. There's a lot of corn leaves. I'm bleeding.
But even from that position, you can tell each of you see as one of these things like lashes out claws first to go after another one. And that one retaliates, claws and teeth. This fight over the wind chimes? If you just leave it and the wind chimes don't break too bad, I'm pretty sure this is going to solve itself.
Oh, well, we can't have them doing this. Here, you guys like this ball here? Look, I'll hold out my crystal ball towards
You are
the
not
shut.
keeping them. You are not keeping them. You are not keeping them.
They hurt. And
Uh,
they smell funny.
I'll take one of my cheap rings off too that's shiny so they all have something to take with them.
Evens or odds?
Odds.
You get one of them. One of them is interested in the crystal ball, but neither of the other two care enough about the ring to leave the wind chimes alone. The one distracted grabs the crystal ball, like limbs wrapping around it, like you hear the scratch of its teeth as it tries to gnaw at it. The other two, they're fighting.
Well, you two really aren't going to let this go, are you? Until
While
the
they're
other one's dead, it sounds like.
while they're fighting over the wind chimes,
Mhm.
can I just go ahead and use hedge magic on it to mend it? Because it says I can mend objects.
Basically, to keep it from falling apart before.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Mhm.
that was fine. And this
One
would be
more
where,
thing
like,
of value.
you use magic on it. Like that third one, its head whips around and it abandons the crystal ball to jump right back into the fight. Are any of you going to physically stop them?
No.
No.
I'm going to take the handful of change I picked up and like jingle it and throw it,
Okay.
hoping to distract them away from me.
They're not
So
paying
I
you
can
any
maybe.
attention.
I'm still bleeding,
What?
You'll be
but
fine.
hopefully
So?
it's going to distract them so we can like catch them or something.
They are distracted.
They're technically caught.
They are. They are 100% caught right now.
Are we trying to kill them then?
You don't have to kill them. You could just leave them alone. You spaced out, didn't you?
I'm not gonna lie, I did fall asleep there
Like,
for a second.
super hard. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Basically, the situation will resolve itself if we just leave them to the wind chime.
Well, this
That part I do
isn't
remember.
right. They'll fight over or to the death over that. We can't leave them here. Then one will be alone. How will it take care of itself?
You are not keeping one. I will not allow one of those on my property. You are not keeping one of them.
I don't want to keep one. I just don't want them to kill each other.
I tell you what, you want to, you can go ask Katie for another one tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow might be too late, but
Do you want to go wake her up?
I can tell you from personal experience, no, you don't.
what
My
if they
woman enjoys her sleep a little too much. She'll literally kill you over it.
You hear
can you
like the
do that
sound
mending thing again,
of,
Glenn?
of ripping fabric or ripping leaves, and all of a sudden one of them is just gone.
Oh, well,
What did you say, Mitch?
I was gonna ask you if you could mend it, but it seems like we're probably too late. I was thinking if we broke it apart, maybe they'd take the separate pieces.
Sure, I can go ahead and mend it again.
Just gonna reach out and try to break it in half so the remaining two can each have a half.
Roll me dodge.
No. As soon as you no. Because
You just
look,
can't
I'm
leave well up and
mending it.
can you, Mitch?
Raviv wouldn't let them fight to the death. He cares about them.
Why?
The 9, I don't think that's enough.
It is. You manage not to get clawed, but you watch one of them just bite into the other, and the victim is just gone again, and the sound of like ripping foliage. So it's just one left, just gnawing and nibbling and cuddling the wind chime. The winner.
Woo!
The winner.
Well, now what? Now it's just What's gonna happen to that one?
The winner.
Do you want to kill it, or do you want to leave it be?
You want to
These
spend
are
an
options.
XP to reroll that attack?
Yeah.
These are your options, man.
That one's funnier. I like that one. That's what I was hoping was going to happen.
Okay, okay. Reviv, evens or odds?
I'll always pick odds.
All she's capable of rolling on these tonight.
Don't worry.
Oh god.
Reviv, if you hear the report of a gunshot.
Oh, it's not a gunshot.
Well,
It's a
it was a
crossbow.
bow and arrow?
Yeah, it's a crossbow.
Yeah. The
Wang.
twang
Ka-ting.
I have a bow right here if you'd like
Of
the
a-
noise.
of a crossbow. You feel like whiz right past you. And Cleaver, all of a sudden, there's an arrow in your thigh. Take 4 might damage.
Would that be might or would it be speed because it's in his thigh?
Depends on whether he's out of might or not.
I have one.
Okay.
I have a might,
So
as in
one
I
might
might
speed?
take this out of my thigh and I might put it in your throat.
Reviv just has some caring instincts kick in, just wraps their arms around the Shuck and tries to carry him away like a baby.
Okay.
Gotta get this thing out of here. They're gonna kill it.
Please get this thing out of here. It's gonna kill me.
Since we are wrapping up, Reviv just dashes away through the cornfield, through the beans, through the peppers and tomatoes, and off into the distance with this completely enraptured corn beast.
We'll just go straight to my cart with it. And just foxfire the little chimes, so it's like a little baby mobile for it.
Cleaver, arrow in your thigh. Ruth,
Son of a bitch!
doing her best.
I'm- She's gonna kill Rivet. There's gonna be a murder. There's gonna be a murder.
Do you go like chasing after Reviv
So you come help me.
just to wrap up?
I'm very tempted to, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
We'll just say
Yeah.
that to wrap up. And
Spurt.
Glenn is just
I'm gonna take
sheepishly tucking away the weapon. And that's where we'll wrap here. Good job.
Yes, please wrap it up.
before someone else dies.
Good job, question mark?
Reviv couldn't let them kill it. It was just a little guy.
It's always
Oh,
you, Mitch. It's
The
always
hungry
you.
little guy. I couldn't let them kill it.
Done.
Oh my God.
It wasn't even a job, but the job is done.
You did it, kinda. You figured it out. And that's what matters, right?
Well, it's
We
not
weren't
like she
told
was
to
gonna
do
pay us
anything.
anyway, so
No.
Props the
We
clock.
still have to retrieve the pig.
Props the clock. Blue, you go first.
Oh, Mitch, I've just this entire with the Chuck and yeah, you're going against expectations. You're zoning out. You just I swear to God, if you come back with that Chuck, Ruth will commit a murder. So yeah, but yeah, I will give you props. Yeah,
He did say that he went to his cart with it.
Mm-hmm.
dress it
I
up in
know.
baby clothes.
Just put a little
Dress
bonnet
it up
on
in
it. No one
baby
will know.
clothes.
Chef.
Oh, I've got to give it to Ashley. Just the sheer back and forth and back and forth, and then suddenly I mysteriously sprouted an arrow right at the end, almost like, maybe somebody had a point to prove.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You ever wondered why Glenn carries around a whip as well?
Give it to Ruth for being the disapproving mother through the whole thing, looking down on me after the pigs ran me over, like, you gonna get up?
No, I helped you up from the pigs. I didn't think.
And then
It's just like a
But the-
disapproving mother would.
I didn't even think about taking the shuck home until Ruth said something.
You only have
It was
yourself
just
to blame
get
then.
them to stop fighting.
Thanks, Mom.
As soon as Lou said something about you not taking it home, I was, I'm gonna have to kill this thing like fast.
Too slow.
Like, and crossbow, bam, fuck, crossbow,
Still
bam.
too slow.
And Ashley.
Fuck. I gotta give it to Chef. He is by far my favorite character so far. Aside from my own, because favoritism. But no, I gotta give it to Chef though, because I'm just loving Kleber's back and forth of not understanding magical shit, but yet it's getting presented to him regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He and Ruth are just in over their heads. Bless.
Ruth at
I
least
have in a
kinda knows what the fuck we're talking about. Kleber,
I have
the fact
active inabilities in using, crafting, and understanding magic.
I know,
I
and
know
that's what
jack
makes it better.
shit. I've got a thing for learning, and I'm like, well, I ran into it, so maybe I know about it now?
That's that's funny
Kinda?
that you say that, is considering I'm trained in teaching.
Aw. I'm just gonna tutor him on weird shit. Perfect.
Do better. Use
Perfect.
chalk,
Have
not
Awesome.
crossbow.
it roll.
Awesome job, guys. Obviously, you're super tired, so I'll be fast with the wrap up. Thank you for watching. This has been Candle, Book, and Bell, our Old Gods of Appalachia story this season. We've been joined by Ashley as Glenn, Mitch as Reviv, Chef as Kleber, and Lou as Ruth. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you could give us a like or a subscribe, that would be super cool. Or leave us a comment down below. You are welcome to also join us on our Discord if you want to vote or chat or join games. We would love to see you. And if you have just some extra cash floating around in your pockets and want to support this channel in a monetary way for books and merch and all that kind of stuff, we have a Patreon too. And if not, if you just want to hang out and watch this game, we look forward to seeing you next week. I've been your DM Duchess, Jen of Thieves. And this is our bedtime. Good night, everybody.